I remember the first time I saw it. It loomed over the dead plains like a god eggs off in the heavens, angular, leviathan, and impossibly still. The ship didn't land so much as arrive, already resting atop its landing struts by the time we broke through the fog. No sonic boom, no seismic ripple. Just there, we'd been sent from Bastion 4 to investigate an anomaly. The local satellites had gone dark. Power grids on the outskirts of Kalos Delta began flickering out like dying stars. We expected a solar flare or maybe pirates, not a monolith from another era sitting silent beneath a sky swollen with ash and static. The brass called it a derelict atmospheric cruiser. But the moment I stepped foot on the perimeter, I knew better. It wasn't derelict. It wasn't atmospheric. And it wasn't from our side of stars. Day 1, we camped beneath its shadow. You could feel the hull humming, like it had a heartbeat, slow, deliberate, and ancient. It vibrated the fillings in your teeth and muddled your dreams. Sergeant Colburn vomited blood in his sleep. Private Hama claimed she heard voices inside her helmet. They weren't alone. Me? I saw lights. Tiny, delicate glimmers pulsing from beneath the surface of the hull, like veins just under skin. They weren't static either. They responded when I got close, drifting toward me like dust motes drawn to heat. By nightfall, we lost contact with HQ. Day 2. Protocol dictated we enter the ship. I led the breach team. 5 of us. We cut through what looked like a maintenance hatch, though the metal healed itself within minutes of cutting. That should have sent us running. But it didn't. The interior was alive. No sharp corners. No human design language. The corridors were smooth, as if grown, not built. They pulsed with dim blue bioluminescence and adjusted their shapes depending on our movements. Every footstep echoed longer than it should have, and sometimes the echo answered back, but never in English. We mapped less than 4% of the ship in 12 hours. That night, Jenkins vanished. All we found was his helmet, empty, resting upright, with the visor fogged on the inside. The team began to fray. Day 3, that's when it spoke to me. Not in words, not even in thoughts. It was more like a pressure behind my eyes, a presence gently nudging me. I felt like a toddler being shown how to walk by something far older than our sun. Images flooded my brain. Star systems I didn't recognize, planets with liquid glass oceans, colossal cities built atop living creatures. It wasn't showing me where it came from. It was showing me why it had come. The ship wasn't a vessel. It was a refugee. Day 4. Hama tried to kill herself. She stood at the edge of the cargo ramp and said, "It's calling me home." Then she walked into the mist barefoot, smiling, before disintegrating mid-step, atomized into light. The crew panicked. Colburn went radio silent. I stopped trying to lead them. I sat alone beneath the core chamber, where the walls bent into impossible geometries, defying Euclidean space. There was a sound there, like singing. It wasn't mechanical or natural. It was more like emotion set to music. That's when I met it. It wasn't a being in the traditional sense. No face, no eyes, no limbs, just a shifting mass of radiant energy suspended in midair, constantly reconfiguring itself like an idea trying to remember what it looked like. "You are small," it said without speaking. I couldn't argue with that. This world forgets things. It forgot us. It forgets itself. "Who are you?" I asked. It shimmered with something resembling sadness. We were never named. We only remained. Then it showed me the truth. The ship wasn't alone. It was the last remnant of civilization that once spanned hundreds of galaxies, beings made of quantum plasma thought forms that had no need for language or weapons. They didn't conquer. They remembered. But memory is fragile, and something came that ate memory. Not a creature, not a machine. Something worse, a concept, a virus made of entropy and apathy, slipping into neural frameworks like rot into wood. It infected species, then stars, then time itself. That's what the ship was running from. That's why it chose to land on Earth, not to escape it, but to warn us. Day 5, only 2 of us were left, me and Colburn, but something had changed in him. He wouldn't respond, just stare at the ship's central interface, murmuring equations that sounded like prayers. I tried to get him out, to drag him, anything. That's when he turned his head and whispered, "It's too late. The forgetting has begun." Then he collapsed, lifeless, but not dead. His mind was empty. No memories, no thoughts, no recognition in his eyes. The ship pulsed violently, its colors shifting to a deep crimson. I knew what it meant. The entity had followed them here, and now it was feeding. Day 6. I had one choice: link with the ship. It wasn't mechanical. There were no controls. It responded to neural frequencies, to thought, intent, emotion. I sat beneath the core chamber and opened my mind like it taught me. Pain surged in my skull. I felt every neuron firing simultaneously. I saw flashes of my childhood, my parents, my dog, my first heartbreak, not as memories, but as data translated and indexed. Then the ship remembered me back. And together, we pushed back. We became one. I saw the enemy, not as a monster, but a void, a shapeless hunger, a cancer of purpose. And I understood how to resist it, not with weapons, not with force, but with story, with memory, with truth. Every time I spoke a memory aloud, it burned the entity. Every word, every recollection was like acid to the rot. So I kept speaking, kept remembering, even when my voice bled, even when the ship screamed with me. Day 7, the ship lifted again. High above the plains, it hovered like an angel made of wrath and wisdom. The mist retreated, the sky cleared, and the entity retreated, not destroyed, not banished, but starved. For now, I stood at the open hatch, my body spent, my mind scorched. The ship asked me one final question. Will you carry the memory? I said yes. Today, I'm not what I was. The doctors say I survived an electrical explosion in a derelict power station, that the ship was just a hallucination caused by cranial trauma. They're wrong. I remember everything. And so I write this down. I speak it aloud. Every detail. Every moment. Because it's coming. And if we forget, we lose. So remember the ship. Remember me. And for the love of all that's still breathing, don't stop telling stories. And